Hello and welcome to the award-winning MVP, the Master's Voice podcast series from MediaBrief.com. I'm your host and friend Pawan R. Chawla, founder, editor of MediaBrief.com, and I am delighted to welcome on this, the latest episode of MVP, a global healthcare innovator, Sigal Atzmon, founder and CEO of Medix Global, which provides personal medical case management, disease prevention management services, medical governance services, and digital health and AI-based tools to streamline and optimize quality healthcare. Sigal, welcome to MVP, the Master's Voice podcast on MediaBrief.com, and thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Pawan, for having me here today. It's a great opportunity, and I feel really proud to be hosted at the Master's Voice podcast. And I hope so many people will come to the Media Brief website and listen to us. I feel very excited to be here today.
Thank you very much indeed, Sigal. Thanks for the big chunk of time you specially set aside to record this episode. And you only just landed in Mumbai, I think all the way from Tel Aviv about a couple of days back. So thanks very much indeed. And while I'm at it, thanks also to Asiya Sheikh and Rachna Prakash from the healthcare practice of Adfactors PR for having facilitated this interaction. So Sigal, before we get on to the business end of this conversation, allow me to tell my listeners about you. So by your leave, here goes. My distinguished guest on this episode of MVP, the Master's Voice podcast from MediaBrief.com is Sigal Atzmon, founder and CEO Medix Global. Sigal is passionate and committed to ensure Medix offers people around the world innovative and advanced medical management solutions that really make a difference in their lives. Sigal's mission is to improve the way healthcare is provided and consumed globally to ensure accessibility, implementation and sustainability of quality care anytime, anywhere, thus flattening the inequality of care curve. Under Sigal's leadership, here's what Medix Global provides. In addition to personal medical case management offering fast-track solutions to the right diagnosis and treatment to help consumers avoid the development of major diseases, Medix also provides medical governance services to prevent misuse and overuse of medical procedures. And Medix provides digital health and AI-based tools to streamline and optimize quality healthcare. Sigal was born and raised in Belgium and pursued her academic studies in economics and law in Switzerland. Before she founded Medix, Sigal held diverse management roles in the finance and investment sector, including as head of the Global Institutional Investments Division at OFX Securities and Investments, as head of the International Trading and Investments Division at FIBI, a Safra bank. Sigal was also the head of the Private Banking Division at UMB, managing a portfolio upwards of $4 billion. So that's Sigal Atzmon, founder and CEO Medix Global, my distinguished guest on this episode of MVP, the Master's Voice podcast. Sigal, once again, welcome to the show.
You spoke too long about me. Too much said.
Well, you are self-effacing and it was a short profile anyways. Right. So Sigal, while I have a lot of questions about Medix and what it offers to India, I do know this about you, that you have a very special fondness for India. Tell me about that in brief, Sigal, because I know how much you like India. Keep it short.
How can I speak in brief about India, Pawan? Such a vast nation with such great people. It's actually one of my favorite places on earth.
Wow.
I feel different when I come to India. I feel this special connection to the people. I travel across India and the opportunity is just endless. And with the great talent, the opportunity, a strong government that is really striving and driving for innovation and economic growth, this is the place to be.
Lovely, lovely. I couldn't agree with you more, Sigal. It's really wonderful to know about your love for India, really. Medix Global, Sigal, is a provider of innovative healthcare management solutions, and India has been a significant focus of the group in recent years. What does precisely, and this is for like an idiot's guide for somebody who doesn't know too much about Medix. So what does Medix provide? What are the USPs of Medix vis-a-vis other global telehealth providers?
So Medix provides, as you rightfully said, healthcare management solutions. I will give you a few examples. If you want to make sure that you are preventing, that you're understanding your risks of developing certain diseases like cancer, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes or stroke, you come and you have access to are prevention services. If you are then diagnosed with a serious medical condition, you have access to world-class disease management solutions.
Oh.
If you then are cured, Pavan, then we move you to the rehabilitation services. And since we're all stressed, aren't we, Pavan? And we all have some emotional issues and anxiety, and mental health is so strong in everyone's awareness today, we also provide mental health solutions.
So this is all a digital connect, which is preemptive and which is also post, let's say, contracting.
So this is a very important and very good question, Pavan, and I'm happy you're raising this. For us, it is not just digital. We offer virtual services.
Okay.
So these are not clinics or hospitals, although we refer to network of quality accredited hospitals and doctors we work with around the world and very strongly in India. But the services that we provide are virtual and they combine. And that is one of our USPs. You were speaking about USPs and how do we differentiate, is that we provide virtual and digital health services and solutions. However, they always combine fully digital and technology with real human interactions with doctors, nurses, clinical research. And that combination between digital, technology, AI, and top human quality interaction in medical operations, that makes us really stand out.
Really cutting edge, honestly. What are the USPs of Medix vis-a-vis other global telehealth providers?
To better understand what Medix is doing, it's important to touch on the problems and the needs of the people in any kind of healthcare landscape, how they consume and how they access healthcare services. So today healthcare is fragmented, specialized. People are more educated and they pay more for healthcare, hence they would like to have value for their money. However, it's siloed. We see in all different landscapes a lot of different solutions, including in India. You have a lot of apps, a lot of digital health solutions, new clinics, new hospitals, outpatient, specialized centers, so much to give. But how do you access? How do you consume? How do you make the right decisions, right? And how do you have access to a simplified, seamless healthcare journey? And that is exactly where Medix comes in.
Okay.
And that actually means that we provide an end-to-end solution, a one-stop shop for people to have access to better quality, affordable, and a stronger accessibility, easier accessibility to healthcare. It is standardized healthcare, but it is also continuous. So it is not a short interaction. It's not a transactional relationship that we offer to our customers. It's a long-term, engaged support system in healthcare management, supporting people across all their different points in life. And I think that this end-to-end solution with continuity of care is actually what really makes us stand out.
Lovely. And now tell me, Sigal, what's the business model of Medix Global outside India and maybe in India?
So
whatever you can share.
Sure, happy to share. Our go-to-market in every market, and just so everyone knows and the listeners would know, we have 12 different bases already around the world. So 2 bases in India and more to come in the coming year in Mumbai and Delhi. But we have offices in New York, in Munich, in London, in Bangkok, Melbourne, Singapore, Hong Kong, and the list is getting longer, out of where we service over 8 million customers in 90 different countries. And the business model that you were referring to, Pavan, is that we actually believe that large corporates, big employers, insurance companies, large financial groups, and consumer-facing entities, if it's Amazon or large pharma companies or retail drugstores, they have a social responsibility to support the people. And especially post-pandemic, we all realize how we all should be involved to provide accessibility to better care and to provide tools. So we actually work on a B2B2C model. And we believe that these employers and these very large insurers, health insurance companies, life insurance companies, they have to embed the right added value services in their own proposition. so that people will have access at a very, very affordable price to all our different services.
Lovely. So in your space and in your kind of services, the entire chain, that's what you provide.
It's like a subscription model. So a very, very, very small fee per life, per customer, per member on a big population. And this is how, at a very, very low price, we reach the masses. We are very keen in not just providing service to the one who are economically strong. We are keen to provide services to everyone in an equal way. We stand for services to people in the rural areas, in the metro cities, in more developed countries or less developed countries. And this is why our model is actually working. It is a very large-scale model that we combine our services and are paid for by those large corporates and insurers.
Lovely, lovely. Right, Sigal, what's your assessment of the healthcare space in India? What brought you and the Medix offerings to India? What is it that you are driven, you're innovative, you're passionate about the Medix services, and I think you would want to be in, obviously every business wants to make money and grow and then also plow it back through CSR into the society that helps it grow, and I see that in all that you've done and read about what you've done, so that's great. But what is it that brought you and the Medix offering to India?
So there are two things I would like to speak about, referring to your question. And I'll get to the Indian part in a moment.
Sure.
But just first about profitability. Are we for profit? Yes, we are a company that is for profit. However,
of course,
we're a special type of company. And this is an opportunity for me, Pavan, to maybe share and even promote. And I hope I can convey a message to our listeners and other CEOs and leaders of companies, because Medix is a shared value company. And I would hope that in today's world, more CEOs and more companies would adopt a shared value model. In such a model, actually, the more impact a company has on society, hence in healthcare, the more people it saved their lives, the more people it improved the quality of life, the more they made healthcare affordable, the more they controlled medical cost inflation, made healthcare accessible and quality driven, the higher the profitability.
Right.
So if Medix has access to more and more people, so the more millions of people it serves, the more services it provides, the more lives it's going to save, the more impact, social, human, medical impact it's going to have.
Yes.
And the more impact it's going to have, while you might be thinking, but the more services you offer and the more people are going to use, the more expenses Medix is going to have, right? This is absolutely true. But in the way we have structured our model, actually we will also be more profitable. So there is a clear link, a clear vertical between utilization of our services and between people who need them and enjoy the services to our profitability. And this is a shared value model. So the stronger our impact on society, the better we will do. And then the better and the more we can return to society to different projects.
And the kind of business that you are in, or business or area, let's put it like that you are in. Sure, it's a business orientation, but I think it's also driving profit through purpose.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And
it's intertwined beautifully. You don't know which is the first link and which is the last, but they are so nicely, incestuously combined.
You're so right, Pavan. And this is why on the hard days, we all wake up in the morning with this meaningful purpose, and we're so passionate and committed because we actually measure our human and medical outcomes, and at the end of the day, we can share how impactful we were, and then makes it every worthwhile.
Wow. In fact, you actually answered my next question, which was, what is the value proposition of Medix to patients and hospitals and doctors and the whole healthcare system in India, given the scarcity of doctors, the high out-of-pocket costs, and the low penetration of health insurance. Right. So that's the first part, the shared value. But you've got to still tell me about why India.
Why India?
Why Medix in India?
This is one of my favorite questions, Pavan. As you know, I'm passionate about India. So India's healthcare landscape and the situation in India is very unique, and there is clearly a huge opportunity that one should not miss. First of all, its vastness, 1.5 billion people. You cannot overlook that. Two, on a global scale, India, with the world geopolitics going on, is getting a stronger position and is getting a more prominent seat at the world table, and is absolutely going to be one, if not the leading economic drivers, the economic powerhouses, exactly. And no one should overlook India today.
Right.
But if you look specifically at the healthcare system, people are paying for their own healthcare. Most people are self-spending and self-funding, which is a very difficult situation and not sustainable on the long run. So first of all, we need solutions for affordability. Second of all, the huge disparity, the huge inequality in accessibility and in the quality of care is an opportunity that needs to be addressed. And with a government that has led a lot of new regulations, implementing new digital tools, and driving more sustainability, but also transparency, and looking at quality, with the people being more aware of healthcare and needing and wishing to consume healthcare in a better way, with healthcare and medicine getting more advanced and more cure being at the table for everyone, I think the opportunity to arrange and to reorganize this triangle between the patient, the provider, and the payer is an opportunity at scale in India that we are really clearly interested in tapping into, and mainly to be a real partner in the transformation of the healthcare system in India. Because what you've seen as a healthcare system 5 years ago is not going to be the healthcare system in India in 5
Another 5 years, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Medix is right in the center of that triangle.
Exactly.
So I understand it's a B2B2C model, and I know who are your core TGs, but I still want you to tell me, who are your most important target groups, and tell me about your marketing initiatives and the media mix you use, the strategies. How do you reach out to them?
So we work along with the insurers that we work with across India, but all around the world. We work with large employers, with large corporates, and we work very closely to them because as part of our joint mission, it is about driving awareness to our services and have people use them. Now, as our marketing strategy, we only go digital. We do not advertise offline. It is only online. But then we also drive a lot of education about healthcare. How do you prevent? How do you self-assess your risk? And what tools can you use to assess the risk of developing certain conditions? How do you manage your prevention? How do you then deal with a serious medical condition? And how do you get back to normal life? So it's about providing high quality information. It's about education. It's about driving awareness. For example, we're working in India on a special project on mental health. So it's about driving awareness. Everyone speaks about mental health today in India. But how many people actually are accessing and using therapy or going to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist? It's about taking the next step. It's about making sure that people understand and use the different services.
So essentially inform, get greater customer awareness. And, the actual closures obviously require personal meetings and, that kind of follow-up. So I think it's a combination of digital in terms of greater, wider and maybe deeper customer awareness. And then the customer acquisition is something that, just as your services to the consumer are a combination of the human and the digital AI interface. Similarly, I think your marketing is also the same. And like you mentioned, the discussion on mental health, for instance. So it's news you can use, which tells you about health, keeps you conscious about it, and makes you think about it. And then when you move in with your other information that says, hey, you know what, we could help solve a lot of problems, and this is who we are, and this is our lineage, and this is the kind of respect we have globally, and this is the kind of emotional investment we have to display in India. So I think it's a mix of all that.
You're absolutely right, and it's a strong mix, if I may say it, Medix specifically. It's a strong combination between going for the right and strong distribution channels, so the large insurers, the large employers, brokers, banks, financial institutions, consumer-facing groups. So that is crucial. By going through them and having access to their customers this is already the first step to the mass market.
Right.
And then in addition to that, we combine to those strong distribution channels marketing strategies, mainly digital, and that is where we come in with information, education, and a lot of workshops and different activities that actually drive awareness about our brand, who we are, what we deliver, what are the results of what we deliver. A lot of brands speak about what they can do, but not about the results. We are very results driven, and we come with tangible, transparent information to the market saying we changed the diagnosis, for example, in 20% of the cases that we've managed in the last year.
Okay.
Can you imagine? Take a room full of 100 people who went to a specialist, who have gone to a specialist, and came out with a serious medical condition. 20%, meaning about 20 people out of those 100, have gone out with a wrong diagnosis. That means wrong treatment, not getting better, spending the money on the wrong solution, etc., etc. In 43% of the cases, Medix has actually recommended a different and better treatment, a more optimal treatment solution, and referred to the right or a better hospital, to the right doctor, giving options to the patients, empowering them with the tools to make the best possible decisions for themselves and the most affordable one. So we come to the market with tangible outcomes and we share them in a very transparent way.
Amazing. I think one thing every consumer, forget B2B now, B2C, every consumer needs to know that if, heaven forbid, they or somebody dear to them in their family or in their friend circle or wherever has been diagnosed with something which is a pretty serious, dangerous condition, if they need a real solid second opinion, they must subscribe to Medix and say, let me check this out. There's no harm, right? It's only all benefit for them. Yeah.
So there's no harm, no doubt. To the contrary. But I must say that Medix is much more than a second opinion. And why I feel a second opinion is a short-term transactional process rather than the services that Medix provide are continuous, long-term.
Which nicely leads into my next question. Sigal, walk us through a typical patient-caregiver's interaction with Medix from sign-up, diagnosis, treatment plan, treatment to recovery and beyond, And what are the kind of costs associated with the services, and just walk me through it.
So I'm happy to do that. It's a great idea because then our listeners might be able to better understand how it works. Thank you, Pavan. So for example, one of the insurance companies that we work with in India is Tata AIA. And Tata AIA has provided and embedded our services, our case management, personal medical case management services, in a very big part of their products and their populations. So their life insured population. And what does that mean is that if a person has been diagnosed with a certain medical condition and he wants to make sure that it's the right diagnosis, and he asks himself, and everyone does, right? When you get a serious condition, is my diagnosis correct? What is the best treatment? Which hospital should I go? Which doctor should I choose? How do I know I'm doing the right thing? How am I paying for it? There's so much anxiety going on. So the process is, first of all, you check your eligibility with your insurer and you ask them, do I have access to Medix services, right? And if you do, you have a direct call center you can call, or you can send an email to your dedicated email from the company you work at or the insurer you're insured with. And then you sign consent forms, which take you a minute, that actually allow us to manage your case and help you in the process. And then we assign a dedicated case doctor and a nurse. Now imagine you have your treating doctor, Pavan, but on top of that you have a little quadrant, like you have your little army of people that actually advocate for you and support you 24/7, know your case inside out, your needs, your fears, your pains, your diagnosis, and have access to the best experts in India and in the world to look at your case, review it, assess if the diagnosis is correct, send you to additional medical tests where needed, make and book all the appointments for you, and make sure that you make the right decisions and you have been rightfully diagnosed, and help you together with your treating doctor reach the best possible treatment until recovery. This dedicated nurse and doctor are going to be supporting the customer for at least 3 months or more. That is way more than a second opinion. That is having a team at your quarterback supporting you during your whole customer and medical journey. And this is what we do.
And it definitely deserves a lot of respect for the cover and the coverage that it gives, the hand-holding and the complete focus on the patient's correct, complete entire course of treatment. So yeah,
absolutely.
Lovely.
And if I may say, Pavan, we all get a disease at some point in life, and we all work through it, and we all cope with it, and it's okay not to be okay, because that's life.
Yeah.
What's not okay is to be not okay alone, and I think that is where we come in. So you are never going to be not okay alone. With medics by your side, you have a dedicated nurse, a dedicated doctor that you can speak to at any time, that knows you and has actually probably become your most trusted partner in your medical journey, fighting for your needs and turning every stone to make the best out of it until recovery.
Excellent. Tell me about the tech platform that Medix lives on, and also how it protects the safety, the privacy of all the data. It's all sensitive stuff indeed, including payment methods and everything else. So
that's a very exciting topic. We've heavily and massively invested in our digital capabilities, and we're launching in India now actually the Medix app. And the Medix app is a one-stop platform where a person can manage all his health needs, from a dedicated smart filing system of your medical records, holding your database of doctors, making your appointments, having telehealth consultations, having your video or audio or live chats with your dedicated doctor and nurse, a medication reminder, a lot of content. So this is one space, one area where you don't need to have 7 or 8 apps, right? One for Ayurveda, one for stress, one for sleep, one for exercise, and one for your liver cancer or whatever, or meditation. It's one platform that gives you an end-to-end solution. And it's all digital. But through that digital platform, you have access to real people. So it's not just digital. And it's backed with the strongest AI and data-driven technologies and solutions.
Do you own the platform, or
Absolutely.
is it a licensed one?
Not at all. We developed the platform, years of investment, of research, of a lot of capital, time and effort and commitment with the world-leading tech specialists. We have an R&D department in Israel who is the startup nation and is driving innovation. So I really feel very blessed and proud that we have had the best people developing it. It is our proprietary platform, and we don't white label it. It is ours, and we offer the services to our customers through the platform.
Amazing. So each and every, let's say, corporate partner,
they all have access.
All have access, all their data, all their patients, or all their people who are connected with you, through them, through insurers, through every pipeline of connect, happens only on your platform. It's a walled garden.
It's absolutely, but you can also, for more elderly people who are not keen to use a platform like an app, you have also audio calls, you have other solutions for people who need more support and are not very tech savvy. We always have to take all the populations into consideration. That's one. Second of all, if I may, the app is empowering, and it's an enabler of having easy access, smart access, and it's the future of healthcare, but today. So it is, you cannot go without technology today, right?
Excellent.
So to your question about the accessibility for eligible people through their insurer or their employer, the good news is, Pavan, we have a 2-level app. One that is free for everyone, and there is a lot of features out there that anyone, any Indian person, when the app is launched very soon in the coming weeks in India, have access to, and it's completely for free. So smart filing, content, information, there's a lot of some health risk assessments that you can self-assess and mirror your own health, understand your risk, all for free. And then there's a second level, a premium level, that is for eligible people who are part of our ecosystem within their insurance company, the employer, large corporates, etc. So free for every Indian platform that gives them access to great content and great features on health management. How do they manage their own health and be in control of their own health and their own information? And a second layer, which is a premium access to the app, who is for the eligible people through their insurance.
So this app, you say, is going to be launched in the next few days?
In a few weeks.
Okay, but
India.
you've been in India since quite some time now.
Yes.
And in fact, you launched your services. Medix launched its services in India in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. So how were you connected with and servicing or serving your members, your paying subscribers, in the absence of an app?
So we had different virtual technology tools from call centers, video calls, audio calls, chats, but they were different capabilities, not all integrated in one app.
Right.
We have, for example, a PAC system. What is a PAC system, Pavan? That is a system where a person has gone and done an MRI, for example, and he wants to share the MRI with us. What would you used to do a few years ago? You would come to the office and bring the CD of the MRI, right? Or you would have to download it to your laptop or to your computer, zip it, send it by email, unprotected. It would be a whole mess and a fuss, right? So we have a system that we've embedded in the last few years where with a click of a button, you upload on your laptop or your computer without even having to save it, your MRI. You click on a button, it uploads in a very safe and protected, privacy-protected way onto our PAC system, and that link is then sent to a radiologist in India or in any other place in the world, so he can review your scans, give you another advice and opinion on that scan, without that scan having to move.
It. So you've integrated everything, and it's a one-stop shop, very easy.
Exactly.
What if somebody leaves a company and is not eligible for Medix services? What happens to all the documentation, everything? Obviously, it goes back to them individually and not through the company.
So first of all, the company would pay for the services, but the company doesn't have access to the medical files of the patient. The patient and the customer, he owns his own space in the app, and he gets to keep all that information, and he gets to keep the access to his app. Nothing is deleted unless he asks for everything to be deleted, and he can continue to use the app. The only difference is he would not be accessing certain services that are paid for by his insurer or his employer.
Can he pay individually and continue to remain on it?
In certain cases, absolutely.
What do you mean certain cases?
So certain services are dedicated to certain employers or certain insurers, services we develop together, but otherwise there are so many ways to access our services and no one has to worry.
Understood. So there can be a continuity of services from Medix in the crucial, critical areas of healthcare.
Absolutely. We would never let people down.
Lovely. That's amazing. So, Sigal, Medix Global launched its services in India in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic. Was that an opportunistic move? I mean, you were targeting only the affluent class of people at a time of dire need for the less fortunate.
Pavan, I must gently and very nicely tell you I feel you're a little bit wrong, and let me explain if I may.
Please, why do you think I'm asking you this question?
So first of all, we had a plan, a roadmap for India. We've been servicing Indian customers out of our London offices and other offices out of Singapore for many, many years.
Okay.
So it was not new to us to deal with the Indian market. However, we had on our roadmap to put operations on the ground and to make India one of our core markets, priority market, in a certain year. No one predicted the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right? So we couldn't know the pandemic was going to come. So an opportunistic move to set up offices in the middle of a pandemic, that is probably the biggest nightmare a person can imagine.
Exactly.
So think of this, Pavan. India is closed. No one can fly in. No one can fly out.
And your office had its first day with none of the leadership there. Tell me about that. And tell me also, Sigal, what that tells you, the response of the Indian team here or the team from India in India here. What does it tell you about the quality of talent?
You're going to get in trouble, Pavan, because I'm going to speak for an hour now, and I'm not going to be stoppable. Not stoppable. Okay. So my biggest nightmare turned into one of my biggest prides, because I assumed that most companies would have just postponed, right? They're entering and putting offices and taking up a place and setting up everything and recruiting and hiring. they would have said this is a lot of expenses, we have to wait, what is this pandemic going to bring along, and how is it going to be? Not at all. And this maybe shows you or tells you something about our spirit, about our integrity, about our passion for what we do, and about our values, because we did not defer coming and setting up in India on the ground. On the contrary, we doubled our investment and we doubled our commitment when during the second wave in India, we saw people dying in the streets. We saw people not being able to be cremated. We saw people not having access to oxygen. We saw something that was so terrible and so devastating, we could not stand still.
Yes.
And we saw also an India that not everyone gets to see every day. People helping each other, corporates helping each other. In all honesty, the government alone did not fix the pandemic. It's the people of India who fixed the pandemic with the help and the support of the government.
Well said.
The amount of support people gave each other, the amount of reaching out of companies, it was fantastic. So we were absolutely not going to stand still, and we had decided to be part of this.
Lovely.
So first of all, we set up the offices and we recruited a significant number of people. And on day one, they came to work. We sent drivers to their homes in the first office was in Mumbai, and different people live in different neighborhoods. So we had a whole team of people to plan, because public transportation was not available, etc. And because we're in healthcare, they could come to work from the office. They had to learn everything. We had to train them. How to even start a project like that when there's no global management, no experienced people that know the Medix company.
No hand-holding.
No hand-holding, no nothing.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, they came, they understood the situation. They were proud to join Medix, and they were proud to start this journey. These people are still with us, and there's a lot of turnaround in Indian companies. They are still with us, and it was an experience that I will never forget, because using Zoom and technology, we trained them, we shared our values, our vision, we discussed goals, and we started working. And we created CSR projects to support COVID patients across India with phenomenal corporates that we worked with.
Lovely.
Providing digital health solutions to people suffering from COVID at home, not finding hospital beds, with all the stress and the questions of, do I need oxygen? Am I getting better? Do I need a hospital bed? What medication do I need to get? So it was one of the strongest and most emotional experiences I think Medix went through. And I'm very proud of the fact that we did it, we made it, we saved lives, we helped people, and that's thanks to the Indian people, really, and my Indian team, who are just fantastic.
Wow, this is an audio podcast, but I wish my listeners could see the expression on your face and the genuine warmth and sincerity of what you're saying. Sigal, you've done brilliant, amazing work, and on behalf of all the listeners, I would say thank you to you and Medix, and your wonderful Indian team also, for all that you've done so far. You're tuned to MVP, the Master's Voice podcast. I'm your host and friend Pawan R. Chawla, and with me is Sigal Adsmon, founder and CEO Medix Global. Sigal, tell me what's great about Medix Global and its offerings to healthcare in India.
Pawan, I really don't see a reason why the people in India wouldn't want to use Medix. They do, and that's why we're here. We want to make sure that every person who wants to prevent having a serious medical condition has the tools to do so, to make the right moves and decisions to avoid developing certain conditions. And when he gets, God forbid, sick, he has the tools to make the choice of the right doctor, the right hospital, making sure he's rightfully diagnosed and not be alone when dealing with the most serious medical conditions. Then when he wants to go back to normal life, it's about getting the rehabilitation tools. And then mental health, clearly. How do we do this? In one line, Pawan. We strike a right balance between digital health, AI, and human interaction. And this is what we do. So our customers can have access to digital tools, data-driven analytics, and human support. This is what we're here for. And Pawan, actually, this is an important point I would like to bring across. People do not need to travel abroad for treatment. Some Indians think that by going abroad they will have access to better care. Let me tell you, it's so expensive and so unnecessary. India has great doctors, great hospitals. The Indian people just need to know and have the support tools to choose the right doctor, to choose the right hospital. Have someone to support them in the process of making sure that all the necessary steps have been put in place to access good care. And more importantly, with today's digital solutions, global expertise has become borderless.
Absolutely.
You can have access to information or to the world's best doctors from abroad without getting on a plane, without paying fortunes of getting care abroad. So I'm sending a message to all Indians, no need to go abroad. You have it all in India. You just need to use the Medix services or have a process to ensure you're doing the right thing.
And in any case, Indian healthcare has the ability and expertise to do every procedure brilliantly well, equal to the best in the world. So if you have the best minds advising Indians, stay in India and do what you need.
Exactly. Now let me tell you, India is one of the world's leading surgical landscapes. So specifically surgeries, you are so good. There is no reason to go for surgery anywhere around the world. And I can tell you from medical research, in certain, for example, cardiac research, the results, the outcomes of the top Indian hospitals are absolutely equal to the top American hospitals and the outcomes they report in clinical research.
Wow.
Right? So really is no reason. Now, one more thing, and this is something that Medix specializes in, is making sure that people in India and elsewhere have access to the world's leading experts without getting on a plane.
Lovely.
We don't like to have people travel for healthcare. We like to empower healthcare landscapes locally and help them get better.
Right.
Yes, in rural areas in India, you don't have always access to India's best doctors.
Right.
But how can you? People don't have to travel. They can have access to their expertise, but deliver it locally wherever they live.
Lovely. You are so digitally driven, right? Medix across, and you. So, from that perspective, being the expert that you are, how do you assess the level of digital health infra in India and the competitors in this space?
So India is already at the forefront of digital health. We have actually done a digital health competition a year and a half ago, and we will do another one in the coming few months. Why? Not because, it's not a game or a gig. It is because there are so many initiatives. And with the Ayushman initiative of the government to drive digital health and to have a digital patient record accessible for everyone, between the government, the talent, the startup and the tech landscape, India is really going to be at the forefront of digital health, really aligned, standing next to the US and to Israel. And I think it's one of the most interesting and highly developing landscapes with great startups. We invest in startups, we look at startups, we mentor and support them. And from our perspective, India is just booming in that space.
Excellent.
And we will see a revolution or evolution, you can call it the way you prefer, in the digital health.
Wonderful. Sigal, let me get a little specific about Medix now. Tell me about the specifics of your association, Medix's association with Tata AIA in India to provide Medix services to the Tata AIA customers.
So this is actually an exciting and one of the exciting partnerships that we have undertaken and another milestone and chapter in our expansion in India. And it's exciting because we partner with companies like Tata AIA because we share the same vision, because Tata AIA understands that its role, its social responsibility is to go beyond financial coverage of medical expenses or life insurance. And they understand that they want to provide and to be a real partner in their customers' lives when, the tough gets going. And the initial first service that we're going to provide to their customers is personal medical case management.
Okay.
So for people who have been diagnosed with a serious medical condition, they have access to our full scale of services so that they are sure that they have been rightfully diagnosed, have access to the best treatments at the most affordable price. And I'm very excited about that because that really saves lives and makes a difference. And it's really moving beyond this traditional model of being a financial association, rather as an insurer, and moves to the space of a real life partner.
Excellent. Time to seek some industry inputs that should help other professionals in the healthcare space in India, Sigal. Medix hosted the Digital Health Innovation Challenge in India, which you mentioned, which focused on disruptive local startups in 2021. You were one of the jury members along with other business leaders and CEOs. What were the tentpole to you ideas and solutions that you identified from startups based in India? What were your important takeaways from this challenge?
A, fantastic talent. B, unbelievable tech capabilities. A great amount of people with vision and execution and delivery capabilities. This is not to be taken for granted. A lot of people have great ideas but don't deliver. We have seen people who have great ideas, great vision, and deliver. The winner, by the way, and I have to promote them because they are fantastic.
Yes, please.
So our winner is a company that actually tackles one of India's biggest problems, diabetes. And the company's name is Fitterfly. Okay. Now, Fitterfly, when we did a competition a year and a half ago, was at the beginning of their journey. Their product was halfway, but we saw the talented people, the commitment, the passion, the tech capabilities, and a great vision.
Okay.
And they actually predict. They have a lot of data, and they predict by what you're eating, how your sugar levels are going to react and influence your behavior so that you manage your pre-diabetes or your diabetes in a better way.
Lovely.
You know, Pavan, today Amazon has invested in them. They have progressed and they will be India's, but not only India's. They will probably be one of the first Indian healthcare unicorns in the world.
Lovely. Must have been very satisfying for you to be sort of behind the entire challenge.
I enjoyed every moment of it, and we will do another one really soon.
Lovely.
This is turning out fantastically.
Godspeed. Anything else you might want to share, Sigal, that I haven't asked you about?
We can speak for hours, Pavan.
All right. We'll chat offline.
Yes, we could take our conversation offline, but I would like to add just one more thing because it might be useful for people to know. What really sets Medix apart in India is our geographic approach. It's a nation. While you have a lot of companies, if I may say so, Pavan, that offer a very specific service, but to a specific geography, to an area, to a state, right? We come with a pan-Indian approach. By using our technology and our virtual capabilities, it doesn't matter where you live. For example, the personal medical case management, no matter if you're up north or in the south, no matter where you live, you will have access to the best possible medical care. We don't cater to one area or one state or two or three or the 6 biggest metro cities. No, we come with a pan-Indian approach, and this is something I'm very proud of. It takes capital, it takes investments, it takes a commitment and effort, but we are fully committed to India and on a pan-Indian level.
Amazing, and I'm sure you're seeing a lot of benefit for the company and through you, of course, for everyone who subscribes to your excellent services.
Isn't it about driving, Pavan, equality? By showing and proving that every Indian has the equal rights to healthcare, to quality, to accessibility, and for it to be affordable. It is really a mission I feel I'm on for every Indian to have the right access to good quality healthcare. And I will not stop until we're there.
I can definitely second that, and I know that you will never stop.
I won't, Pavan.
It's like, this probably is one of the longest podcast episodes we've recorded, and I have thoroughly enjoyed everything that you've said, and I have reveled in your passion and in your commitment. So it's been amazing. Thank you very much, Sigal, for all your time and patience today. It's been a real pleasure to record the podcast with you. Sitting across the table, you've flown into Mumbai all the way from Tel Aviv, and I enjoyed our conversation. Lots of insights and learnings from you, your passion and your love for India. I feel these across the room as a real heartbeat, so that's really nice. What do you think of our chat today, Sigal?
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed every moment. I don't want it to finish, actually. Pavan, why should we finish? We could speak about healthcare and the people of India and the places I've been, the opportunities. It's just endless.
Yes, and I know that this weekend you're going to be...
Hampi.
Yeah.
I'm going to Hampi.
Amazing.
And last time, a few weeks ago, I came for 10 days of business, and then I took a trip to Rajasthan again.
Oh,
Rajasthan
lovely.
being one of my favorite places on earth.
Wow. Amazing.
Before we end this conversation, I must add, Pavan, I am absolutely in awe by your website and your work and you're doing. I think just by listening to the Master's Voice podcast, I've learned so much. I've got to know people I would have never gotten to know. I got information about companies, about, different leaders' vision. It is interesting, it's empowering, it's insightful, very exciting, phenomenal work, really.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your kind words. And I must say, Sigal, everyone else I've featured on this podcast series will also similarly be truly inspired, motivated and moved by, not just your vision and your passion and commitment, but also by the smart strategic business insights that you have shared. So thank you very much indeed. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks also once again to Asiya Sheikh and Rachna Prakash from the healthcare practice of AdFactors PR. They've both been extremely helpful in facilitating this conversation, which has yielded another knowledge deep dive, like I said, for my listeners on MediaBrief.com and the Master's Voice podcast. So you're in very good hands.
Thank you so much. I feel I've been in amazing hands with you during that conversation, and I really feel what you're doing is so meaningful because it empowers and it allows a lot of business people to listen to others, to learn, to be open. We have to always learn and get better at what we're doing. So it's really thought leadership.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for doing this, Pavan.
You're most welcome. You've actually elevated the stature of the series, and I can't thank you enough. The visionary Sigal Adsman, founder and CEO of Medix Global, which now has a growing and vibrant presence in healthcare in India, was my distinguished guest on this episode of the award-winning MVP, the Master's Voice podcast on MediaBrief.com. I found this conversation extremely insightful, and I hope you did too. Till we meet again in the next episode of MVP, the Master's Voice podcast on MediaBrief.com, this is your host and friend Pavan R. Chawla, founder, editor of MediaBrief.com, saying, take care, stay safe, stay healthy. Bye-bye.